or biting the air, or their own coated backs and limbs. The night is thick with the slaughter. The insects clog the gutters, pile deep in window wells, blow across the lawns in drifts of carcasses. The streets are greased with them, and where the asphalt has slumped under years of traffic and the boggy heat, the husks fill the grooves so that tires grip and spin even at the slowest speeds. Nance and her husband Joe, who have never lived through such a hatch, who have, in fact, consigned such things to the Old Testament or the odd calamities of third-world countries, find themselves driving the 5 miles to Unalaska, creeping along with what little traffic there is. It's worse than any fog, a common enough hazard in this place, the air gone animate. "I can't go any faster," Joe says. "I'm not asking," Nance replies. "You're thinking it." She frowns, but his attention is focused on the blizzard of insects pelting the windshield, piling inches deep in the gutter between windshield and hood. He has had to stop twice to clear them out. The inside of the car smells of their small meat frying on the manifold. His hands are white on the steering wheel, his back rigid. They have learned not to use the windshield wiper, some of the streaky goo still resined onto the blades. She wants to tell him, "Take your time." She's sure her sister's safe now, in the hospital, having survived this latest and the worst yet. She sighs, pats her cropped dark hair in place. She's trying to find some calm, something to center herself on, what with the phone call from their father, her sister beaten again, another bad man, and then the slick roads. They are driving blind through this rain of insects, the glittering, sticky pastiche of wings on the hood, and road illuminated each time a car drifts by on the left. They try music, turn it off. Conversation falls mute under the concussion of flies. In Unalaska, they drive past the dozen or so mom-and-pop motels, the inns and courts, pink and green tubes of neon muted beneath the crush of bodies that droop in swags or hang pendant in fleshy stalactites. They park in the hospital lot, jog to the emergency entrance, with jackets held up over their heads. Nance feels the small creatures lighting on her hands, hears the little percussions against the denim. The sidewalk crunches beneath her feet. They slip through the hospital's sliding doors, and the cloud drafts in with them. When Nance steps onto the linoleum, her soles thick with gumbo, she sees the tracks of those who have gone before her. She shrugs an apology to a janitor pushing a long-handled mop back and forth across the mess, but the man gives no quarter, scowling at the mess they've brought in. She moves on, shaking her jacket of insects, sweeping them off her legs and arms, casting them from her fingers like lesser jewels. They're directed 2 floors up, where her sister's been admitted for the evening. Under the banks of fluorescent, everyone looks shell-shocked. Not just the usual emergency room gothic, it's more pervasive, a strangeness about the eyes, fidgety hands. Outside her sister's door, Nance prepares herself. How bad this time? As if Joe has read her mind, he takes her hand, squeezes it, says, "It'll be fine." She sets her shoulders and strides in. She manages to balance concern with calm, even when she sees the shaved square on Meredith's scalp, the stitched skin. That's what she has the most trouble with, the redness of the scalp, the way it puckers, like lips sewn shut. Meredith passes a hand over the side of her head, tugging a long shank of hair over the wound, like a privacy curtain. "It's not that bad, sis," she says. "Hey, Joe." She smiles, extends a hand, and he takes it. He thumbs the medical bracelet. "Nice," he says. "Cost much?" "This is not funny," Nance says. She gives her sister a too hard hug, surprised, as she always is, at how solid her sister feels, even here, floating and insubstantial against the white hospital sheets, her face curiously rouged. Nance touches the skin. Meredith winces. Rug burns. Nance's finger lifts away. That son of a bitch. Is in jail. For the night, at least. She looks around. Me too, I guess. Joe shakes his head. Food's better there. He pulls up a chair, seats himself. You would know? Little sister, it would surprise you the things I know. Where's Pop? Nance asks. I sent him for coffee. You know how he can be. Nance knows. Their father's inability to cope on a daily level with crisis, as when their mother struggled with cancer, her subsequent death. It wasn't that he fell apart exactly. Rather, he became strangely ineffective. Though he managed to work every day, bring home a paycheck. Still, in the smallest, most necessary ways, he grew incompetent, tying shoes, cooking meals, doing laundry, the business of living. Long months after their mother had passed away from the cancer, they would stumble across bills, a phone bill, say, tucked in the bottom of the sock drawer, or the electric bill in a book on the shelf. I meant to pay that, he'd say, or, as an explanation, I had it in my hand, and then it simply wasn't there anymore. And he'd shrug and walk away. They'd learned to make do, the girls, which mostly meant Nance, 12 at the time and the older of the two, who'd become the housekeeper, the accountant, and mother to Meredith. Meredith fingers the remote on her bed, and it hums into place behind her back. I can go home tomorrow. Home? Meredith nods. As in home, with Dad. He know yet? Thought I'd let you tell him. Nance shrugs. He'll be relieved. We all will. Christ, sis, how many times? Joe stands. I'll just go check on your dad. He's probably touring the maternity ward. He hands Nance into the empty chair, leans down and kisses her on the cheek. He whispers in her ear, Be nice. She's been hurt enough. Then plucks a mayfly from Nance's hair, gently puts it in her hand. And then he's strolling out the door, while Nance wishes she too could skip this next part, turn away as easily as he has. Out in the corridor, there's the dinging of a pager and a soft voice calling for Dr. So-and-so. A nurse leads an old man past the door. He looks in at the sisters, a long, wobbling stare, then shuffle-walks onward, an ivy on wheels dogging his heels. They still out there? Meredith asks. The bugs? Nance nods, looking at the insect in her hand. The mayflies of the insect order Ephemeroptera, meaning lasting but a day. The adult Hexagenia, winged, soft-bodied and elongated. She glances over at the window. This is probably the worst of it. This evening. These will be dead by morning, and the hatch will taper off over the next few days. She knows this because she researched it that morning when the hatch began. Fascinating, these odd bits about the natural world. She's just finished her undergraduate work with a major in biology and is considering a graduate degree. Perhaps teach the sciences, as their dad has done all his working life. Though she's not sure she has the patience to work with children. She holds the insect closer, studies its many-jointed body, the short, inconspicuous bristles that are its antennae. The large head with its prominent eyes, its wings, triangulate, membranous, a delicate crosshatch of veins. They're mating, you know. They only live a few hours. Meredith shakes her head, a quirky grin on her lips. Figures. She raises a hand to her scalp, fingering the sutures. When she puts the hand back into her lap, she stares into it. I fucking knew, sis. From early on this morning, I just knew this was going to happen. Dex was edgy, on his feet and jumpy, moving from room to room, like he was looking for someone to take on. Nance nods. Meredith looks over at the window, where mayflies speckle the glass like pale ghosts. And then those goddamn bugs come up from the river, like the fight he's been looking for. Except there's no one to swim.